Well, hello there and welcome. We are back with another edition of Ask a Lawyer right here on CP24. Good to have you along for the ride. Hope you stick around for the entire 30. John Scholes, that's me right there on the nameplate. And joining us momentarily, Lior Sanfiru, of course, employment lawyer at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Always start off the show with the contact information because it might pique your interest to reach out to Lior and the team anytime if you're having workplace issues, right? 1-855-821-5900 by phone. Ask at EmploymentLawyer.ca by email as well. And that'll take you right there. We got a lot to cover on the show today. Always emails, we got phone calls, and a main topic in the second segment, which this time will be basic boomer workplace rights. No, don't get fooled by the beard. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm not a boomer. I'm not there yet. And I don't think Lior is either, but that's coming up in the near future. But we always start off, Lior, as you know, with the week that was to get us warmed up. Yeah, I see you smirking there. No, you know how old I am. Thank you very much.
I do.
What do you got to start us off this week, pal? What's going on?
Hey, Johnny. Thanks for that. We want to be talking about this important topic. We want to cover employment law. We want to advise you about your rights and arm you with knowledge. Knowledge is power, okay, of course, and that's what we're all about, giving you that power, giving you that knowledge so that you don't wander, so no one takes advantage of you in the workplace, so that you know what to do if you're facing a problem, where to go, how to get help if you need help, and of course, how the law operates. We have fantastic laws across this province, across this country, frankly. But if you don't know what the law is, it really can't help you. That's why we're here, to teach you, to give you that information that can help you if you lost your job, if you're put on a temporary layoff, if you're dealing with a bad boss, or you're being harassed, discriminated against, you name it. We have rights, you have rights, and we're here to help you. But beyond the 30 minutes of this educational show, you can reach me in the office, so I can roll up my sleeves, my team and I, and help you actually resolve those workplace issues. We want to talk to you. We want to have that conversation. That's why we'll give you that contact information throughout the show, of course. So don't hesitate to reach out. Well, let's talk about the case of the day, a situation that I came across very recently. I spoke with a gentleman that over the past few months has found himself in a very difficult and uncomfortable situation in the workplace. He's been told repeatedly, well, you know, you're getting a bit older. You know, you're kind of the older guy here. Is it really the right environment for you? Have you thought about, you know, retiring, spending more time with your family, with your grandkids? And he didn't really want to engage with his employer about it, kind of would smirk and leave it be. But only to then be told again, hey, you know, have you thought about what we said? You know, maybe we'll even help you out on your way out the door. But, you know, is it really the right place for you? You've been here long and you know, maybe you should go. So frustrated, he didn't know how to address it. Should he say something to his employer? Should he be upset? Should he not? So he contacted me. And here's what I told him. First of all, he had a right to work as long as he wanted. There's no mandatory retirement. It's up to him. He is in his 60s, but he could work till 70, 80. He can work till whatever age he wants. There's no limit on your ability to decide how long you want to work. But it's more interesting than that. In this case, by essentially pushing him out and telling him in not so many words that he's too old to do the job, that he shouldn't be there, that he should be doing something else other than the job that he's had for years. That in itself is age discrimination. It's ageism. You can't do that. You can't tell someone that they should be leaving. You can't encourage someone to retire. You can't tell someone, hey, you're the old guy here. That is age discrimination. And by doing that, not only is this a human rights violation, of course, because you can't mistreat someone or pick on them because of their age. In itself, this is also a constructive dismissal. You've created this poison work environment now for this person. He feels unwanted, he feels discriminated against and bullied, frankly. So no, it's not appropriate at all. So what I told him is this: he has to now make a decision. Does he tell his employer to back off and just forget about it? Or does he say, no, this is not okay. I'm going to leave, but I'm going to leave on my terms. Human rights violation, constructive dismissal. There's going to be financial consequences, employer, for what you've done here. He's deciding that right now, but I wanted to remind everyone here of this. You can work as long as you want, and no one should tell you what you should be working, how long you should be working, and whether you're too old to be in that workplace. If that ever happens to you, I want you to call me right away.
Good stuff, Leo. Let's move on to our first phone call of the show. So listen up, here it comes.
I just lost my gig in management for a manufacturer thanks to tariffs after 14 years. They offered me 14 weeks of severance pay plus another 2 weeks pay as a bonus if I accepted the offer on the spot during the meeting. I declined so I could double check their offer. Did I make a mistake?
Terrible idea, by the way. Employers, I'm going to focus on you guys here for a second. If you're offering severance, never ever tell your employee to accept on the spot. If they want to accept on the spot, don't let them, okay? Not a good idea. An employee should always be taking the severance offer home to consider it, to think about it, never ever have the employee sign on the spot. But many people would say, well, she is there for 14 years, a week per year, that's 14 weeks, that's the right amount, isn't it? Wrong, not even close. There's no such thing as a week per year or 2 weeks per year. It's false. It's a myth. It's simply not true. Your entitlements are calculated based on other factors, and it's a heck of a lot more than that. So I want to show you how much she is really owed, the real amount. So we're going to use the severance calculator tool, of course. You can find that at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Let's do that right now and see what we get. So she's been there for 14 years as a manager. She's 59 years of age, was told 16 weeks, a week per year plus another 2 weeks. Nonsense. You see right there at the bottom, the right amount is 16 to 20 months, not weeks, months. So she's owed 5 times what she's been offered. That's why it's so important to get some legal advice. It's not a week per year. That's why you go to EmploymentLawyer.ca and use the severance calculator.
All right, Lior, great stuff so far. We got to take our first little break here, and basic boomer workplace rights. That is the main topic, as I mentioned off the top. We'll get into that on the other side as we're just getting warmed up here with lots more Ask a Lawyer on the way on CP24.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
And welcome back. Ask a Lawyer, CP24. John Scholes, Lior Samfier. Lior's always reachable. Encouraged to call and contact Lior with any workplace issues. As you know, there's the number, 1-855-821-5900. Ask at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Scan that QR code as well. Lior, I kind of want to keep on the topic of age this week because it's a big one. As you know, the workforce in Canada and a lot of other countries, for that matter, is aging quite rapidly, so it's a concern. I mean, can you be fired for just being too old? And it's not always as obvious as you said, like, hey, you're too old, get out. It can be very subtle, the way it's done by bosses and managers. So how does that on the legal side of things?
Yeah, I gave you an example just at the beginning of the show of a situation where someone was discriminated based on their age. It's a real thing. And let's answer the question, John, here. No, you cannot be let go because of your age. I'll take it a step further. Not only can you not be let go because of your age can't even be a consideration in deciding to let you go. So if there's 5 reasons why you were let go, if even one of them is your age, that's illegal. That's a human rights violation. Your employer should never have any consideration to your age in deciding whether to let you go. Improper. Now, as you said, John, sometimes it's not obvious. Your employer is not going to say, hey, we're letting you go because of your age or because you're too old. So sometimes it's not obvious. So some things to watch out for example, if you're the only one being let go and you're much older than everyone else, well, maybe it's age. If you have there's a history of referring to your age, referring to your retirement, that may be an indication, of course, that age is a factor. If the company is going through a youth movement, all of a sudden you're out on the street, well, that may mean that age is a factor. But no, you cannot be let go because of your age. It's age discrimination. It's illegal, and the law takes that very, very seriously.
Are you protected if your boss or manager starts to pressure you in that regard? I mean, they start, leaving golf pamphlets on your desk and retirement home pamphlets. I mean, that's scary. Are you protected in that regard?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. You know, you're joking about it, but I've had cases where we've seen that happen. So it's serious. And I was touching on that earlier on the case of the day. Your employer should never suggest to you and tell you that you should be retiring or that you're too old. Your employer can't pressure you to resign, can't tell you that you should and guilt you if you don't. Your employer doesn't have a right to do that. There's no mandatory retirement. We got rid of that 25 years ago or so. So you're now able to work as long as you want to work. It's strictly up to you. And if you feel that your employer is not allowing you to do that, let's talk. That could be a constructive dismissal as well as a human rights violation. Again, age should not be a factor with respect to anything in the workplace.
And finally, Lior, to what extent does your age affect your severance as far as positive or negative?
So forgetting about discrimination, let's say you were let go for legitimate reasons, nothing to do with your age, but your age still impacts your severance. The older you are, the more severance you're owed. Why? Because the law believes that if you're older, it may be more difficult, more challenging to find another job. So that needs to be reflected in your severance. So older employees get more severance than younger employees, all things being equal. So, 65-year-old is going to get more severance than a 45-year-old if all other factors are the same. So yes, the older you are, more severance you get. You're more likely to get closer to that 24-month range of severance. So definitely, if you're let go, always call me. If you're older, that much more important to make sure you get what you're owed.
And always use EmploymentLawyer.ca. By the way, as Lior always mentioned, and we illustrate on the show every week, it's free and it's anonymous as well. I think we got time to squeeze in another phone call before the break, Lior, so let's get to that. Listen up.
My friend works at the retail store, and recently she had some medical issue, including the minor depression. She got a note from the family doctor and said that she has to be off work for at least 2 weeks due to the medical issue. But the employer have asked her the doctor note is not enough, and they want a detailed reason why. I know it's confidential, but she provided a reason to the owner of the store. The comment from the owner of the store is, I have depression every day, but I come to work anyway, so you have to come to work. So what's her right over here right now?
Wow. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Your employer has to abide by the doctor's note. They can't say, by the way, John, oh, that doctor's note is not enough, like this employer said. That doctor's note is enough. And that doctor's note does not need to say what the medical condition is. All that doctor's note needs to say is you need 2 weeks off for health reasons. That's it. At that point, there's nothing the company to argue with, to ask questions about, or to question. They have to follow what your doctor says. And whether they believe that your condition is serious enough or not is irrelevant. Company doesn't get to decide to also become a medical expert to decide whether your condition is serious enough. That's why you have a doctor. So no, you don't have to tell your company what the medical condition is. You don't have to give your diagnosis. You need a doctor's note saying, here's the time off that I need for medical reasons according to my doctor. If your employer won't give you that time off, let them hear from me. See how fast that changes, John.
Great phone call, Lior. As we get into a break, it will dovetail nicely into the other segment of the show, which is covering disability law. The other half of what the firm does, we'll do that on the other side as we continue Ask a Lawyer right here on CP24. Stay with us.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
All right, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer here on CP24. This part of the show, we always like to, jump the tracks to the other side of what Lior and the firm do, and that is disability law. The contact information, mind you, very similar. The phone number is exactly the same, 1-855-821-5900, ask at disabilityrights.ca. Yeah, I kind of gave a bit of a soft sell there about what you guys do on the other side, Lior, because it's wickedly important to go along with the employment side, but maybe drill down a little deeper on how that half of the firm works. What do you say?
So the disability lawyers on our team help those individuals that cannot work and have been denied disability benefits or cut off disability benefits before they should be getting cut off. And this is such an important thing that we do because these individuals that we get to help are in a very difficult situation. They're not able to work. They need the compensation that they've paid into so that they could pay their bills, support their family, live. And there comes an insurance company and says, no, we don't believe you. We're going to find a reason to cut you off. Can't do that. Impossible. We need to help these people. So we're proud to have a team, the best team anywhere, I think, that helps people with these disability benefits. And as you said, John, there's sometimes this interplay between employment law and disability rights. You may have someone that's off work and the insurance company says, we think you should be going back to work, even though this person can't. The employer hears that and says, you can come back to work. Well, if you're not back Monday, we're going to fire you. And you're sitting there kind of shaking your head saying, my gosh, I can't work. My doctor tells me I can't work. So what am I doing here? And the good news is we can help you both with your employer and your disability insurer. So please don't ever feel you're alone in this situation. If your insurance company is denying benefits, giving you a hard time, telling you that you're about to be cut off, please understand that we can help. We deal with this every day. We make things right. So if you have those issues come up ever, or someone that you know has those issues, let's have that free consultation. Reach out and let's talk.
Let's get into a phone call in that regard for this part of the show, Lior. So listen up. Here it comes, pal.
I've been on LTD for approximately 39 months for chronic pain and generalized anxiety disorder. My doctor told my insurance company that my limitations are permanent. However, I just learned that my insurance company is sending me to an independent functional capacity evaluation with an occupational therapist. How will this evaluation affect my benefits? Can they return me to work or cut off my benefits?
So under the terms of an insurance plan, you would generally have the obligation to go to this independent evaluation that your insurance company is setting up for you. So you should be going to that. You don't want to give the insurance company a basis to say, you're not cooperating with these benefits. So they use these evaluations to reassess your eligibility. But the fact that they're sending you for this evaluation doesn't mean that they can cut you off. Doesn't mean that they can use that as an excuse to say, no, you have to go back to work, no more benefits for you. As long as your doctor confirms that you cannot work, your benefits should continue. Your doctor has that power and their opinion gets the most weight. If your insurer tries to stop, to cut off those benefits, we need to deal with it. Don't panic, it's going to be just fine. We'll make sure that your doctor gets the weight that it's supposed to get. So let's talk about it. Don't stress out. But of course, I want you to go to that evaluation so that the insurance company doesn't have any excuse to continue your benefits.
I want to get to an email question here, Lior, and I love it this week because this email question contains one of the most feared and misunderstood terms, and it goes like this. It says, my long-term disability benefits were just denied because I'm not totally disabled. What does that mean?
So there's a big difference between being totally disabled and being unable to work. So you may be unable to work completely, but that doesn't mean you're totally disabled. You may be able to leave the house, even drive, and do some other things in life. That doesn't mean you're able to work. So those are very different things. What an insurance company should assess is your ability to work, okay? The insurance company tries to create this confusion here, saying, well, you're not totally disabled, so why are we paying you? That's nonsense. It's about ability to work. And the best one to assess that ability to work is your doctor, okay, not the insurance company. So the fact that you may be doing other things does not mean you can work. So if you know you can't work and your doctor knows that you can't work, that should be enough to get those disability benefits. Don't let the insurance company confuse you. Don't let the insurance company come up with a reason and an excuse to cut you off. Once they hear from us, they hang their head in shame and they know, yeah, you've got us. So let us do our job and let's get your benefits.
We'll take one more short break. Here when we come back, we're going to flip back over to employment law for a phone call to wrap up this week. So stick around. That is on the way on Ask a Lawyer.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
All right, we're back with Ask a Lawyer. A couple minutes to go here. We like to wrap up each show, some weeks with a phone call, and that's exactly what we're going to do this week, Lior, so here it comes.
My employer cut everyone's pay by 20%, blaming it on strong competition and the economy. That's income I can't afford to lose. I asked my manager if there were ways to avoid the cuts. He fired me the next day, claiming insubordination, and didn't give me any severance after 2 years. I can't even apply for EI. I worked in a supervisor role.
Well, let's be clear here. Your employer doesn't have a right to reduce your pay by 20%, and you asking about it or telling them, hey, that's not cool, is not insubordination. That's ridiculous to say that. So if your employer let her go, of course she is owed severance, and of course she would be entitled to EI. This is a wrongful dismissal. So what we need to do now, of course, is to find out how much severance she's owed. So easy to do. We're going to go back to EmploymentLawyer.ca and use that severance calculator once more, and let's see what the amount is. She's a 55-year-old supervisor who's been there for 2 years. Her employer feels it doesn't know her severance. Nonsense. She's owed 6 months severance. You see right there. That's how easy it is. I would help her to get that severance. Same with you at home. Check out EmploymentLawyer.ca if you've lost your job.
Okay, Leo, we are up against the clock, which means we're out of time. Thank you so much for all of that, and thank you as well for tuning in. Appreciate that. As you know, we do this Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. You'll want to reach out now that we are done. That is always a thing you can do. The phone number first, 1-855-821-5900. Combine that with the email, ask@employmentlawyer.ca, and all that severance calculator stuff. You can use it as well. It's free. It's anonymous, pocketemploymentlawyer.ca. And finally, any other information, cp24.com/askalawyer, and we will catch you next time. Thank you so much.